Guys, this podcast is brought to you by our friends over at Wrestling Collector Shop. The next time you're looking to add the newest wrestling figures to your lineup, you've got to go to WrestlingCollectorShop.com. Started by collectors for collectors around the globe, Wrestling Collector Shop has been serving fans the latest and greatest in wrestling action figures since 2002. Whether you're looking for basics, elites, or ultimates, Wrestling Collector Shop should be your first stop the next time you're looking for wrestling figures. So make sure to go to WrestlingCollectorShop.com and use code SWOGGLE to save yourself 10% on your order. Again, that's 10% off with code SWOGGLE only at WrestlingCollectorShop.com. Hey guys, once again, another episode of Going Postl. I'm Dylan. That's George. George, hit him real quick with everything.
Guys, welcome for this wrestling one-offs episode. We're going to be talking about Dylan's one-off wrestling appearances after he left the WWE. But before we get into that, make sure to follow Going Postl Pod on all forms of social media. Follow Dylan Postl on all forms of social media. That's at Going Postl Pod and at Dylan Postl. YouTube.com/Dylan Postl for all of the video content for this show. Dylan's video diaries, as well as the video version of State of Affairs. DylanPostl.com, ProWrestlingTees.com/Swoggle. PodXchange. Let's talk about that. We got a store now, ladies and gentlemen. If you want to get some extra PodXchange merch, you can go to PodXchange.shop. That is PodXchange.shop. And we also have a Patreon, Patreon.com/PodXchange. You can get exclusive content from this podcast, as well as State of Affairs and the Game Marks podcast. And if you would like to get yourself a free $10 credit over at Whatnot, all you got to do is go over to swoggleauction.com. And if you're feeling super generous and the only thing that you want to do with your time is to help out this podcast, one of Dylan's buddies says it only takes 27 seconds to leave a review. So we're going to steal that. So please, if you have the time, we would appreciate it if you rated Going Postl on Spotify, on Apple Podcast, wherever you choose to listen. We would appreciate 5 stars, but we want honest opinions. If you think that there's things that should change about the podcast, if you have suggestions for future episodes, let us know. And Dylan, what happens if they leave a review?
Right. Yeah. Guys, head over to Apple Pod or Spotify. Leave a review. Leave us a review. We want to hear what you're thinking of the pod as a whole, what your thoughts are about guests, possibly upcoming guests, your guests that you would like, or just topics that you would like us to talk about. But we want to hear your thoughts about this podcast. And if you leave us a review, we will pick a winner, and it will be an exclusive Going Postl Pod 8x10. The only way to get these 8x10s is to leave a review. The only way.
Old school.
Yes, I absolutely still love these, though. It's the logo with the skull, Mike. They're very, very limited. Again, the only way to get them is to leave a review and us shout you out on the pod. We'd love you to leave one if you got that 27 seconds. It can be, hey, very simple. Hey guys, love the pod. Yay.
And you know what? If you write it to be sung to a specific song, Dylan will do that too.
No. Possibly. Guys,
as long as he knows the song.
Yeah, otherwise I'll just play it on my phone and try to go along.
I love every part of this.
I was going to say entrepreneur guy, but nope. Whose line it is anyways? Interpretive. Nope.
Improv?
Improvisational. Yep.
Dylan Postl, big yes and guy.
Hey, Dylan Postl and Eric Postl used to watch Whose Line every week. We loved that show.
Oh, man. Well, Dylan, like we
Yeah.
said earlier, today we're talking about all of your wrestling one-off appearances. Now, let's be a little bit more specific about that. A wrestling one-off appearance in the context of this is Dylan going back to one of the major companies that he had worked for in the past, or just a single one-off televised appearance somewhere. So we would be covering his time in WWE, his appearance in AEW, as well as an appearance in Ring of Honor. But Dylan, there's something that we got to do before we do that. We got to pay the bills, keep the lights on. What do we got to do?
We got to pay the bills. Guys, listen to this, because you know what this is. It's time, ad break. Are you a fan of Disney, Pixar, Jurassic Park, The Office, or even WWE? Or maybe you just want a sleek and comfortable patterned shirt? Then you need to check out Roosevelts.com. RSVLTS.com today. Roosevelts makes the most eye-catching and comfortable shirts going today. Whether it's button-ups or polos or hoodies or even hats and everything in between, Roosevelt's truly has something for everyone. Made for those with the love of sports, pop culture, and so much more. And above all else, having a kick-ass time. This clothing is for the bold and fun, for those who dare mighty things. Roosevelts.com. Check them out.
All right, we're going to kick it off here. April 27th, 2018.
Yeah, so we've covered the Greatest Royal Rumble on its own episode. But
we did a Swoggle and Rumbles episode.
That's what it was. So we kind of went into detail about this appearance. But I was thinking about this today, as you kind of told me what the topic would be, and I was like, man, at that point in my life, and that point in my career, what year was that? 2018, you said?
2018.
So in that point in my life, in my career, I definitely thought like, hey, I don't think I'm ever going back. Like, I don't think I'll ever get a call back. My ship has sailed. And I was fine with it. I truly was. And then I got the call. And it wasn't even supposed to be for the Greatest Royal Rumble. They wanted me versus Torito, and Torito wasn't available. So they got WeBL. And it was supposed to be just me versus him in a WLC match. They flew him all the way over there to then do nothing. And they put me in the Rumble. And it's, man, the travel was brutal. But getting again, we talked about on that episode about my gear and about how my gear at that point didn't fit. So I had to get the vest altered and extended to fit my now huskier body. The jacket didn't quite fit as much. The pants definitely wouldn't have fit. So I wanted to just wear my gear pants anyways.
And your hair wasn't.
Hawkins yelling at me to bleach my hair.
Yeah.
So I had,
because was it long too, or was it just?
Yeah. No, it was. I cut it. I got the fade, and then I bleached it, and which I did not want to do at all.
Was it the length that people associate with Swoggle hair now, or was it somewhere in between?
Oh, it was this. Yeah, it was this length. It was yeah. So then, because my whole thing was, it was a one-off. Why should I do this? Like, why should I even care about doing it? And he's like, they don't want Hawkins. I remember, they don't want Swoggle. They want Hornswoggle. And I was like, man, I'm not quite as right as you are. You're more right than I am. So it's one of those
There's
things.
There's a word for that, Dylan.
Nope, I'm not going to say it. So it's one of those things where he was correct. And
which makes you
not as correct.
There's another word for that.
Some may say
incorrect is a way to say it.
So I did that. I did that whole thing, and I'm glad I did. In all reality, I'm very, very glad I did. It was man. So here's the thing. Heartfelt moment early. Going back and looking back on that, and I wasn't happy with my performance at all. I couldn't get to the top rope. All of that. But looking back on it, for them to call me for that and go, hey, I think they'll remember him. Whether the Saudi people in charge wanted that match, and for them to want WLC is insane for me to think, like, but then for them to change it and put me in that Rumble with a Tron and with my music and with an entrance and everything, just like looking back on it is crazy to me now. They just put out a surprise Rumble entrance, YouTube video last year or the year before, and I was part of that. And I don't know, man. I don't know. It's just stuff like that. Now at this point in my life, where I'm finally accepting that I'm doing okay things, it affects me more. I let it affect me more. I let it affect me more.
So in that match, you eliminate Dash Wilder.
Oh yeah,
you are eliminated.
He was real happy about that.
And you are eliminated by Tony Nese.
Yeah. So again, we talked about on the Royal Rumble episode. The original idea was I was supposed to hit the splash on Kofi and then get eliminated. I could not hit the splash. I knew I couldn't do it. I knew I couldn't climb the rope at that time because I was, again, a little huskier. My hips weren't working. They were lying at the time. So I called an audible beforehand and I go, Dolph, if I'm not making it up there, I'll make a gesture to you and you got to pull me off. Or like hit me or whatever we ended up doing. Oh no, he ended up like pulling me down. There was the bite and the boot, right there. So I was like, everyone's saying I wasn't eliminated. Shut up. And then I get to the back, like I talked about in the episode. I get to the back and Michael Hayes, oh man, where's that splash? Where was that splash? I couldn't do it, buddy. My knees were shot. And I remember getting through the back tunnel and like just like popping a squat and like being really emotional and like pissed off at myself. Really, really angry at myself that I couldn't do it. It just sucked. But it's still a moment and no one thinks about, let's be honest, no one thinks about that. They think about the surprise of the entrant, which I now look back on. I now can look back on and go, that's what the moment was.
Oh, 100%. And I feel like with I don't know, what's your opinion on Rumbles? Like,
they're the best.
But do you care more about I have friends who only care about the entrances. They just I just want to see who's in it. I don't care who wins.
I love every bit of the Royal Rumble.
I'm the same way. I think those people are less right.
Yeah, 100% they're incorrect. We can refer to them as
they are wrong. Got it.
100%. But I really, really love Royal Rumbles. It'll be a week after this episode airs, but ACW has our annual Rumble show this Friday, and putting that thing together, just like playing with that, it's like playing with action figures. It's my favorite match to put together of the year. I'm not even a part of. So to do this, it's like every year I just watch it and sit back and go, all right, this is working. This is working. This is working. Oh shit. Oh, that worked. Okay. It's just fun. I love Royal Rumbles. Has always been my favorite match.
Oh yeah. Then, I don't think that you're alone in that. I
think it's such a common thing with wrestling fans. Like, WrestleMania is WrestleMania, but man, Royal Rumble is just incredible.
It's the surprise, the unknown.
Yeah, truly
it's the best part of it. All right, so then we're jumping ahead. We are now in January of 2019, January 27th to be specific. We are at the Royal Rumble, in the Women's Royal Rumble. You appear under the ring with Zelina Vega.
Yeah, so this was a surprise, a complete surprise. They called me. I think they called me that Thursday. I think I got clued in a week ahead of time by a guest interview of a past guest interview of the show. I think I got clued in about a week ahead of time and saying that it might happen. And then I didn't hear anything for a couple days. And then they called me, and I had to. I remember I had to change my flight. I think it was from AEW. I had to change my flight, so instead of going home from Cleveland, I flew to Texas. It was in Texas, right?
Phoenix, Arizona.
I was very wrong with all of those. So they instead of flying home from Cleveland, I flew there, and it again being a surprise. So we went over it before the show, and one of the pitches was like, "Hey, you're gonna do this with Zelina. You're gonna go through the ring. You're gonna kind of flirt with Rhea. You're gonna give her a look, and then go about." And then they were like, "Hey, don't do that." And I was like, "I'm going to do that. Like, it's going to happen." And then they wanted me to run across the tables, and I was like, again, like, this is at this point in my life, there was a lot of times where I was like, it's almost like come to Jesus moments of like, hey, your body is getting horribly out of shape, physically, how you feel, weight, all of that. But then it would be like, so what? Just eat more because that makes you happy. And it was a very double-edged sword at times. So they wanted me to climb on the table and then chase Zelina across the tables, and I was like, I'm not getting up there. There's no way I can get up there. So we did the whole thing, and again, it was great. I think that was the one where Corey Graves made a shitty comment towards me, like, "Oh, it looks like Hornswoggle ate Hornswoggle," or something like that. It was either that one or the Greatest Royal Rumble. I forget which one it was, but it is what it is. It's now 5 years post that. It's not affecting my life anymore as much as it did then. It really pissed me off, but whatever. I don't care anymore. It's a moment. It's a moment where again, people bring it up all the time now because it's WWE, guys. This is WWE. It's unreachable.
It's like hard to quantify the reach.
Yes. Of such a minute spot there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That spot really is nothing. But so many people saw it because it's WWE. That's the crazy part of it.
It's kind of one of those things where, like, if you watch and you know, then you like, it's like one of those if you know, you know kind of things. Yeah. Like some people may have watched and been like, I don't get it. Why? Who is that? And there's other people that are like, oh, you don't know who that is? Let me tell you. I'll give you a history about everything about it.
It really, really is that. And again, people gave a shit, which makes me feel good nowadays. Like, people recognized, people knew, people got a laugh out of that I was under the ring. I did not dye my hair for that one. I kept the hat on and kept the hair color and the length because I did not want to cut it and dye it because I knew it would be 15 seconds, and I was correct. Man, it's just... Oh, I don't think we probably talked... I don't know if we talked about it even in that episode. So to get me under the ring for that spot...
It's on my list to ask about.
Yeah. So typical times, what they would do is cut the lights and have people... Like, Lana just asked me about this, actually, because when we went to Raw a couple weeks ago, they snuck someone under in the same exact way. A bunch of stagehands would crowd around me, and then we'd just sneak out, and I'd be in all black, like black hoodie, black pants, all of that. Sneak under. They'd act like they were messing with the ring and fixing stuff with the ropes or aprons. They'd leave. This time, because it's at a baseball stadium, and they can't black out the arena as much, and it's a very long ways, what we did was we took a golf cart with black sheets, black drapes all around it, took it all the way down the field from the back, through the corridors, all of this, as close as we could get to the guardrails around the ring, and then I just ran. I said, "You're like, hey, we could have you," because I was in the all black, obviously the black hoodie and black pants. They're like, "Hey, we could have like people around you." I said, "I'm running." I said, "Nope, I'm not waiting for him. I'm just going." It was such like a cool. You know what was cool about it was I didn't get that sneak out since probably like, honestly, probably 2008. Because then I was just with Finley on his side. So it was one of those things where I was like, oh man, this is a cool feeling. Like I put on the headphones again, and just, it was a really, really cool feeling, man.
PSP or no PSP?
No, no PSP this time. But yeah, it was just, again, they remembered. You guys remembered. Thank you for remembering me. Thank you for, like, I don't know. It's just a cool feeling, man. It's just a very, very cool feeling.
All right, we're going to jump ahead again. Now we're in June of 2020. Over at Backlash, there is a pre-taped match between the Street Profits and the Viking Raiders, and you have a taped part, but it doesn't air.
So did this ever get out online? Like,
I don't know. I don't remember ever seeing it.
I talked about it in like one interview, and that was it. So again, 2 years later, you said, right? 2 years later?
We're going from 2019 to 2020, so just a year.
Yeah, a year. The world is shut down.
Yep.
This was the second pay-per-view from the Thunderdome. You know, the first one being Mania that year. I get called saying, "Hey, we want you to be part of this this filmed match between Viking Raiders and Street Profits. You're randomly going to appear, and you're going to just slam dunk a basketball." I go, "I'm what? What? Okay." So they fly me down. It was like during the week. They fly me down, put me up in a hotel. I go right to the Performance Center, and it's like, which is the Thunderdome at that time, which is what you see today. Like, the Performance Center isn't what it used to be. That's now down the block with all the rings and the coaching, the school essentially. Now the Performance Center is the Thunderdome still, because that's where they do NXT now. So I get there and I was like, man, this is crazy. And at that time they were filming the Edge Randy Orton match, the greatest match of all time. And it was just like, oh, this is odd. No crowd, no reactions besides, like, I think they might have had like the 20 people against the glass there. I don't even remember if they had that, but it was just a very odd, very somber, like a very, very quiet and somber thing for these guys having to destroy each other in this match. Edge and Randy. But like, I feel like I wasn't there for like 2 minutes, and I ran into Bruce Pritchard, and I haven't, at that point, I haven't seen him in a couple of years. But then he goes, "Hey, have you seen your dad yet?" I go, "Fit?" He goes, "No, the boss?" And I go, "Hell no." He goes, "Come on." I go, "Nope." He goes, "Come on." And he like grabs me by the shirt and pulls me towards Gorilla. And while they're doing all of this shooting and all of this, and he takes me right to Vince. And he goes, like, Bruce, I remember it like it was yesterday. Bruce goes, "Sir, I've brought your son." And Vince stands up and gives me like this big bear hug. And it was just like, man, again, he catches up with me, asks about Landon, all of this stuff where these people never have to do this. It can be treated as a, "Hey, how are you? Good to see you. Thanks." And that's it. But it was a big catch up. When I saw Hunter that day, it was a huge catch up, like it always is. And it's just a good feeling. So,
because you don't get these, like, obviously you run into people at Royal Rumble, at Greatest Royal Rumble, but it's not as sit down, like exchanging like full blown conversations as this sounds.
This was definitely more of a catch up than those other two. And I'm not sure why. I just it just was, and it just happened, and it felt really, really good, man. It felt welcoming, really, really welcoming. Like, I'm not an outsider. Like, I'm still remembered as part of the family. And just stuff like that makes me feel good. So they're shooting this Edge Randy Orton match all day. All day. And then I remember Jamie Noble was like producing this Viking Raider Street Profits match. It was like supposed to go all around the performance. They're outside, inside, all of this. All right. He comes to me and goes, all right. And this is, I think I got there at noon. I think they finally got to, because they needed our stuff to be at night. I think they finally like talked to me at like 7 saying, hey, all right, we're probably going to start shooting in an hour or so. And I was like, okay, great, whatever. We're like ready. And now it's dark out and we can shoot. We got time. And it starts thunderstorming. Now, as it's thunderstorming and raining, obviously with the rain and the lightning, we can't shoot anything because we can't have anyone outside. We can't have all of this stuff going on. And a majority of the match at that point was going to be outside, which we can't shoot. So now it's like, what do we do? And Jamie's like, if we can't get this tonight, can you stay another day and we can shoot it tomorrow? It's like, I have a booking tomorrow, so I couldn't do it. Like, and looking back on it, I should have just been like, hey, I can't do this. I have to pull off. I'm sorry. But I didn't. And I actually really regret it now. I really, really regret it. All it was going to be, literally, it was going to be a 6-second thing of them brawling, and like randomly there was going to be in the lobby of the performance center. They were fighting, and I just come out of this closet and I run through them and I slam dunk a basketball and then I walk off. But that right there would have been a moment again. We talk about this, how people remember, how it's memories, how the reach of WWE is unmatched. Yeah. I really regret not doing it. I really regret more not doing it because, spoiler alert, I now then later that year do AEW and Ring of Honor. And I would have been the first person to ever appear on all three. Ever. And that's what my biggest regret is. Easily the first person to appear on all three in the same calendar year. I would have been.
That would have been cool.
First. And it would, what a feather in the cap that would have been. So I really regret not doing it. But you can't. Hey, you know what I always say.
Hit him with it.
You know what I always say. The rear view mirror is much smaller than the windshield. So you can never take time looking backwards.
Wise words. I have a question about this Backlash pay-per-view. Mainly because we've addressed it in the other two pay-per-views. Dyed hair? No dyed hair?
No dyed hair.
Okay. Was there an expectation for you to have the blonde hair?
They didn't tell me. I was planning at that point, like same as the other one, like same as the Zelina Vega one. Part of me was like planning on like tying my hair up and putting it under the hat, and same as this one.
Okay.
In the Zelina Vega one, I just didn't do it. I just let my hair down.
All right. So, well, it's just I figured we addressed it in the other two. We might as well address it here.
Was not going to happen for this.
But
not even a thought.
From what I have seen in my research, that's your last appearance with WWE as of recording. Is that Backlash tape that never aired?
Didn't even happen. Yeah. It's always nice to know that the door is always open. Lana and I have visited a couple times and said hello and all of that. It's a argued statement of whether that's negative or dumb to do or positive. Listen, my son loves pro wrestling. My son loves WWE. My son loves AEW. If I can, as his dad, give him the most full experience I can at this point in his life while I can, I'm going to do that. I don't care. It's not about me. This is about, hey, I mean, he got to meet Logan Paul, which was insane for him. He's gotten to meet everybody. And we've had some really, really good memories visiting the last couple of years. So it's if I get shit for that, hey, I don't give a fuck. I truly, truly don't, because because I'm doing this for him. I'm not doing it for me. Otherwise I would stay home. Every time I tell him, like, hey man, if you want to go or not, he wants to go to Raws or to SmackDowns, and we enjoy the day.
Yeah, might as well, man. You got the connection. So many other people would love to have that experience. Why? You have the ability to do it.
And again, the door
utilize it while you can.
The door has always been open for that, which I'm very, very, very grateful for, because it doesn't have to be. They can just say, hey, nope, we're good this time. It's never been like that, which is awesome.
It's great. That's great. All right. I'm going to jump ahead again now. From June 14th all the way to November 3rd of 2020, you make an appearance at Ring of Honor unauthorized.
Yeah. So this was another kind of just a last second thing. The show was like supposed to be presented, like Colt Cabana was in charge of it, and he was booking the whole thing. And I think he always like knew I was a fan of Delirious, I think. And Delirious always knew I was a fan of Delirious. And so they wanted me to team with Delirious as Mini Delirious. When in reality, all it was me in my gear with a Delirious mascot. And Cabana even like calls that out like during the match. It was really, really fun. I was very, very happy with it. I got to check Ring of Honor off the list. Something again I never thought would happen. Ring of Honor isn't fit. I'm not fit for Ring of Honor and their typical style in that. So, and being a Ring of Honor fan, I mean, since I started wrestling, 2002, 2003 Ring of Honor is what really got me into like independent wrestling and that. So for me to be able to now say I was part of a Ring of Honor show is a really, really cool statement.
Yeah, man. Well, that who knows now with how the landscape of wrestling has changed with Ring of Honor and AEW, maybe that door will open once again and you can make another spot in Ring of Honor.
I again, very thankful and grateful to have a guy like Cabana always think of me for things like that and various projects and opportunities. So it makes me happy.
Now we're going to jump ahead again, but not that far. We're going from November 3rd, 2020 to November 18th, 2020.
Yeah, I didn't realize it was that. I thought
it's quick.
I didn't realize that at all. Now I think I get a text from Jericho saying, hey, are you available to shoot something? I had an idea. And I was like, okay, what do you think? And then he texted me, you're going to be the hangover baby in this segment we're shooting in Vegas between my group and MJF's group. I forget what they were called now.
Inner Circle?
Yep. But there was the other group. There was two of them.
The Pinnacle.
Pinnacle and Inner Circle. That's what it was. And you're going to be the hangover baby. And I was like, okay. He goes, we need you in a diaper. And I go, what? All right, whatever. So then they get me like my travel and all of that. And I'm going to be like, they're putting me up at Caesars. But I didn't even need a room because literally we shot it. And then I went right back to the airport and flew out that night, which was great. I was there. All right, back up. Now they says I need a diaper. Dylan Postl's thought is, how can I get the funniest diaper I can? I had a package of regular adult diapers, and then I had a package of animal print diapers. I went with the animal print because it was funny to me and it made me laugh. I was there. I think I was in Las Vegas for 6 hours. That was literally it. I literally flew in. I went straight to Caesars. I was just on set as they were shooting stuff. And I shot my thing that took legitimately 90 seconds for 2 camera views. And that was it. 90 seconds total.
So your easiest booking to date?
It was the best. The best. And then filled out my paperwork because, again, I've never worked with AEW at the time. It was great to see Jericho again. I think I saw Swagger. I think that day, but that was it. Literally, I was just hanging out on the set when they were kind of shooting their stuff, and they were shooting all weekend. And they're shooting in the Hangover room. That was their ideas. They wanted the place. And then I flew home that night. Thinking back on it now, it's insanity that they flew me out for 90 seconds worth of work, but a shot that was 12 seconds, 15 seconds maybe.
Yeah, but it's such an iconic break in that segment.
Yeah. And it's something, again, people bring up. And it's, what's cool about that is that they would think of me in another company that at that time has never talked about me, has never mentioned me, has never referenced me, has nothing. But they would use me for that kind of segment because I'm Jericho says, you're a recognizable face. So it makes sense.
Agreed.
And I was like, oh, whatever. Okay. Maybe. And then when it aired, social media pops for it and ats me. Again, good feeling. I mean, so in all reality, looking at these one-offs, what a year 2020 was, in thinking about it, I'm still cussing myself for not staying an extra day at the WWE one. But you know what? To have the door open with WWE for things like this, to have the one-off for Ring of Honor, have the one-off for AEW. In a nutshell, what it makes me really, really realize is something I keep bringing up is that, man, it's good to be remembered. It's good to be thought of as someone that matters in the history of wrestling. Something that I still don't accept and I still don't recognize. But as long as others do, it means something. It means that that something cool must have happened.
I think it's a combination of people know who you are, they remember you, and their memories are positive ones. There are plenty of people who are, are memorable and have, are booked to make other appearances, but
pieces of shit.
I wasn't even going to say that. I was going to even.
So yeah, I mean, in a nutshell, I'm very, very happy, even if they are one-offs, or that they are one-offs, to be able to again feather in the cap that these things did happen.
And with that, man, I want to thank you for sitting here and talking about. I feel like this was an interesting one, a different one. I think this I don't know. It was a cool topic to talk about. Yeah, because we couldn't dedicate a whole episode to one of these. So to just kind of talk about your one-offs since your WWE departure, it was a cool little trek down memory lane.
Yeah, I definitely think that each of these topics couldn't have been their own episode, but so to group them together like this is nice, and it's nice again to kind of make it a thing of, I'm doing the independent stuff as my job now, but when these opportunities come up post release, it's cool to think back on that it's still able to happen. So yeah, different episode, heartfelt episode, fun episode, and overall fun memories of each of these. opportunities.
Let's get those social plugs in.
Yes.
Today, I know you got a busy day, so let's wrap this episode up.
At Dylan Postl on all forms of social media for my personal social medias. At Going Postl Pod on all forms of social media. At PodXchange. That is PodXchange for the grouping of ourselves. Affairs Pod, State of Affairs, and the Game Marks podcast. At PodXchange, it's a family conglomerate of the three of us just having fun and really just grouping ourselves together in a fun family of sorts. Check us out also on Patreon, patreon.com/PodXchange. Early and ad-free episodes, exclusives, exclusive merch, exclusive discounts on the merch. All of that. PodXchange on Patreon. Also, make sure, we talked about it at the beginning of the episode, head over to Apple Pod. Leave us a rating, leave us a review, and you can win the exclusive Going Postl 8x10 will be sent to you if we read your review on an episode of the show. George, what did I miss? Oh, I got it. ProWrestlingTees.com/Swoggle, where you can get my personal shirts as well as fun shirts from the State of Affairs, as well as fun shirts from this pod. A lot of stuff over there. But George, hit him with your plugs.
I mean, you kind of already did it. I have another podcast. It's me, the former Creative Pro champion Johnny Clashbone. On this podcast, he goes by
Carouse.
What'd you do?
I pinched my finger.
Why were you spinning in your chair?
Because I have to fidget. I'm the fidgeting midget.
God, no. We want to thank you again for joining us for this episode. PodXchange, check that out. At Game Marks Pod, at Affairs Pod. If you haven't already, at Going Postl Pod, at PodXchange, PodXchange. We appreciate you guys hanging out with us. Dylan, next week you got a big ol' interview coming up, but we're not going to tease who it is.
We're not teasing who it is, but it's a really, really fun one. Next episode.
It's a good one.
Guys, it's going to be a good small talk. We're going to get to the heart of the matter of the worst storyline of all time. Bye. Guys, let's talk about Mad Cat Beard Care. They make my beard feel soft, silky smooth, and they can do the same for yours. A one-man show since 2019, Mad Cat uses a portion of their sales to care for local stray cats. That money covers their medical bills and finds them safe spaces and forever homes. Their products are made to order with vitamins and all-natural oils that promote strong, healthy hair and moisturize your skin as well. They've got exclusive scents for myself, as well as other wrestlers like my good pal Brian Myers, Mr. Kennedy, and Ring of Honor legend Delirious. Make sure to check out all of their scents, along with my Swoggle scent, which has notes of lavender and sage. I absolutely love this scent. And guys, we've got an exclusive offer for listeners of Going Postl. Use promo code SWOGGLED to save yourself 15% on your orders only at madcatbeardcare.com. That is Swoggled with a D on the end to save yourself 15% on your orders at madcatbeardcare.com. Guys, that's 15% with promo code SWOGGLed. And remember, the Mad Cat makes a happy beard.